In a quiet corner of the vast world of watercolor, a mysterious name continues to appear, not in galleries or textbooks, but on YouTube. Chen Siqi. No interviews, no personal stories, no art show appearances, just videos. Silent, graceful, and mesmerizing videos. And yet these videos captivate thousands across the world. Who is Chen Siqi? Where is he from? And why does his art speak so clearly when he says nothing at all? This documentary is not a biography in the traditional sense, because there is little to uncover about Chen Siqi's personal life. Instead, we step into a different kind of journey, one that focuses entirely on the language of watercolor, on technique, on intuition, and on emotion. We dive into the art itself to discover the person behind the brush through brushstrokes, light, and silence. From the first glance, Chen Siqi's watercolor paintings command attention. His subjects are varied, portraits, figures, urban life, but always with a unique, delicate touch. The colors are never loud, yet they sing. The forms are loose, yet intentional. Watching him paint is like witnessing a quiet symphony. Each stroke carefully considered, each wash layered with thought. One of the most striking aspects of his technique is the balance between control and spontaneity. The water seems to guide the pigment just as much as the hand does. There's an evident trust in the medium. Instead of fighting with water, Siqi dances with it. His brush hovers, lands, releases. He knows when to stop, when to leave white space, and when to add the final stroke that transforms an impression into a complete image. In many of his videos, you'll notice how the painting slowly reveals itself. There's no sketch, no roadmap, just a blank sheet, a brush, and a vision. At first it may seem chaotic, abstract lines, patches of color, but as the minutes pass, figures begin to emerge. Faces, gestures, moods. This is not just skill, it is instinct paired with years of practice. The way he captures human figures deserves special mention. His characters are often placed within soft, fading environments, almost as if they are dissolving into light. Faces are not over-defined. Expressions are suggested, not detailed. This technique gives his work a timeless, dreamlike quality. The viewer is invited to feel rather than analyze. The looseness allows for interpretation, but it's not accidental. Everything is calculated through feeling. What's even more compelling is the complete absence of narration in his videos. There's no voice, no explanation. He never appears on camera. All we see are his hands and the brush, as if he's letting the artwork speak entirely on its own. In a digital world saturated with self-promotion and commentary, this silence is powerful. It leaves room for contemplation. Many viewers leave comments like, "This is so calming. I could watch this for hours." His brush control is unreal. Why isn't he more famous? Perhaps fame was never the goal. Perhaps this is an artist who paints not to be known, but simply to create and to share. And in that quiet generosity, Chen Siqi has built a global following, not through marketing, but through authenticity. To understand the brilliance behind Chen Siqi's technique, it's helpful to pause and observe the structure of a single painting. There's often a light pencil line as an initial guide, barely visible, and used only when necessary. Then a wash of color. Usually diluted, almost transparent, it defines the atmosphere before the subject. This first layer is crucial. It sets the mood, the direction of light, and the emotion of the piece. After that, he moves in with confident, larger brushstrokes, introducing form, shadow, and depth, but he never overworks. Siqi seems to understand instinctively when to stop. In watercolor, overworking can destroy the freshness. With him, the freshness is always preserved. There's air in his paintings, breathing space. Even the darker tones are luminous, never muddy. It's clear he understands the nature of pigments, the behavior of paper, and how water reacts in different temperatures and timings. What separates him from many artists is not just his technical prowess, but his sensitivity. Chen Siqi doesn't paint things, he paints moods. His city scenes feel alive not because of detail, but because of suggestion. Figures are often faceless but carry emotion. Architecture is hinted at rather than spelled out. Windows melt into shadow, streets blend into mist. He lets your imagination finish the story. Take, for example, his portrait work. He often begins with a single eye or a shadow on a cheekbone. Then, with a few flicks of color, a personality takes shape. The expressions are never exaggerated, yet the feeling is intense. You sense solitude, quiet joy, contemplation, all without a single spoken word. This is watercolor at its poetic best. Some artists rely on dramatic compositions or photorealism to impress. Chen Siqi relies on restraint, on listening, on knowing when not to paint. His respect for negative space, for silence on the page, is what gives his art such emotional weight. It's an art that doesn't shout, it whispers. And somehow those whispers travel far. The mysterious absence of biography only adds to his intrigue. Where did he study? Who were his influences? What does he look like? We don't know, but maybe we don't need to. His hands tell us enough. The confidence in each stroke, the deliberate pauses, the occasional tilt of the paper to guide the flow of water. These are signs of someone deeply intimate with his craft. And then there's the sound, not of his voice, but of the brush against the paper, the soft clinking of a water container, the occasional scratch of a pencil. These ambient sounds, untouched by music or narration, become part of the experience. It's almost meditative. In a fast-paced world, watching Chen Siqi paint feels like entering a sanctuary. As his videos continue to spread across the globe, his anonymity becomes part of the legend. Viewers have speculated everything, from his age to his location, but none of it is confirmed. All we know is the art, and that, perhaps, is exactly how he wants it. The impact of Chen Siqi's work reaches far beyond the borders of watercolor technique. It touches on something more universal, the longing for beauty in simplicity. In a digital age saturated with noise and perfectionism, his art reminds us of the quiet power of the hand, the brush, and the moment. He does not chase perfection. Instead, he embraces imperfection, using it as a gateway to authenticity. His choice of subjects may seem ordinary: an alley, a man walking under an umbrella, a dog resting by a doorway. But through his eyes, these scenes become extraordinary. They are not documented. They are translated into emotion. You don't just see what he saw, you feel what he felt. This empathy, transmitted through pigments and water, is rare. And it's what makes his audience feel connected, even without words or a known identity. One of the most compelling elements of Siqi's work is the absence of ego. There is no self-promotion, no signature flourish, no attempt to dominate the canvas. Everything is in service of the subject. Even in his most expressive brushstrokes, there's a humility. The kind that comes from years of quiet observation. Perhaps that's why viewers feel calm when watching him. There is no urgency, only presence. It's this presence that lingers long after the video ends. It invites you to slow down, to pay attention, to notice how light filters through a window, how shadows stretch at dusk, how raindrops pool on pavement. These aren't just watercolor techniques. They're invitations to live more fully, Chen Siqi's brush doesn't just create images, it opens doors. For aspiring artists, his videos are more than demonstrations, they're lessons in mindfulness. He teaches us that mastery isn't about speed or showmanship. It's about depth, about understanding your tools, your subject, and yourself. His quiet discipline, the way he arranges his palette, how he washes his brushes, even how he sits, everything reflects a conscious choice. In a way, Chen Siqi is not only painting but meditating. Each stroke is a breath, each layer a reflection. Watching him feels less like observing and more like participating in a ritual. That's why his work resonates so deeply. It's not trying to impress, it's trying to connect. And despite all this impact, the man behind the brush remains invisible. But maybe that's the gift. By stepping back, he allows the art to step forward. He reminds us that true artists don't need the spotlight, they just need the page. As viewers from around the world continue to discover his channel, leaving comments in many languages, there's a shared sense of gratitude. Thank you for the peace. This made my day. I didn't know watercolor could feel like this. These messages, simple and sincere, mirror the spirit of the art itself. In the end, Chen Siqi's legacy might not be found in galleries or textbooks. It might never be defined by awards or exhibitions. It lives instead in the quiet moments his paintings create, in the inspiration sparked in a viewer's heart, in the stillness he leaves behind. A mysterious artist, a gentle teacher, a silent companion. Chen Siqi doesn't speak, but through his watercolors he says more than words ever could.